Hey, what's up guys? Another video here. So I want to talk about today about not following the herd because the herd is broke. So what people usually do is they don't set a budget, and what happens is they get into credit card debt, and they want to, especially through social media, they want to exhibit their nice lifestyle. So that may include a car that they can afford, and it's a lease. So a lease car is a big no-no. So you want to be driving your car for a very extended period of time because you want to get the maximum value out of it. But if you're continuing to lease a car, what's going to happen is you're going to be doing an expenditure that you will continually have to pay. So again, that will be a continued expense because you, at some point, when you pay off a car, or better yet, pay a car off in cash, you will be able to free up that cash flow. So it's really important to buy a car that you can afford. Of course, it should be reliable. So from my experience, if you go with a Japanese car, probably a little safer. But again, the manufacturing standards may have changed now, but again, that's why I always go toward a Japanese car. So I tend to go that route. But anyways, whatever car you get, make sure it's reliable and definitely cost effective, and do not lease it, especially if you're trying to build wealth. So if you can pay the car off in cash, that's ideal. If you make payments on it or pay the car off early, that's even better. But again, cash is the most ideal when you are trying to purchase a car. So anyways, going back to following the herd, so the herd will purchase a car, especially a brand new car that they cannot afford, okay? So actually all the cars I purchased were used. So automatically you get the savings there. So you have low mileage and the price is much cheaper. So the herd will purchase a car new and they'll make payments on it, probably with a ridiculous interest rate. And the herd will then also go on vacations that they cannot afford, so they'll put the credit card to use when purchasing tickets and so forth for vacations. So that's another thing. And again, the herd will often go to brunches and whatnot and spend an exorbitant amount of money on food. Again, I'm not immune to this. I do eat out from time to time, so I don't want to be hypocritical here, but again, that isn't a very, very common occurrence for me. So again, the herd will do things to satisfy their needs today. So they're going to be very hedonistic in their behavior. So they're unable to delay gratification to an extent, or not at all. So what's going to happen is the expenditures are going to be so high and the savings rate is going to be so low or even negative that they won't be able to save for the future, or they won't be able to set up their future. So from what I've read on a particular website, the average net worth of someone my age is $13,599. So that figure varies. Again, that's it can differ between average and median and so forth, but the situation isn't very good, especially for millennials. So that is coupled also with massive student loan debt. And the student loan debt, especially if you go to school to a major that you cannot really capitalize upon, especially trying to get a job with that, that's also a big no-no. So again, the combination of all these expenditures, credit card debt, and also student loan debt, it kind of brings down the millennial as far as their net worth. So they either cannot pare down the expenses, or they made a decision where, especially with student loan, where the interest rate was variable and the student loan amount was very high, and also that they're going to a profession that won't be able to produce a stable and large income for them in order to pay it off. So life is just a series of decisions, and generally if you follow the herd, you will probably be broke and you won't be building your net worth. So the popular saying of an individual named Dave Ramsey, again, I do not agree with everything he says, but he states that live like no one else, later on you can live like no one else. So what he's stating is you make all these sacrifices while you're young, and then when you're older, you'll have the fruits of your labor. So you'll be able to indulge in the things that a young person shouldn't necessarily indulge in today. So it's really important that you do not follow the herd. Don't feel pressured, especially by social media, that you have to catch up and you have to do all these things, vacations, cars, and living in places that you can't afford, buying too much house. So again, that is also another factor. So if you have a massive down payment on a home that's much larger than you can use. So for example, if you're buying, for example, a 4-bedroom house and you're a single individual, you don't need all that space. So that right there is an automatically a bad decision, because you're living in a place where you won't be even occupying all the rooms and you will be house poor. So if you're house poor, you're going to be pouring all this equity into the home, which may or may not appreciate, which again is a risk, especially if you're buying a overvalued house. So that is a huge risk, and it's better to live in a property that you can afford, obviously. So if you have one person, then you should probably only get a 1-bedroom place. And with those savings, of course, like I stated before, you buy assets, not liabilities. So you buy equity such as stocks, you can get index funds or whatnot. So anything that has a reliable track record of appreciating value, and in that way you won't be following the herd. So again, the herd is broke. The herd goes on vacations, buys expensive cars, lives in a place that they can't afford, has student loan debt that's unjustified, and is not really controlling their lives through a budget and living their lives intentionally. So it's really important for you not to follow the herd. Again, you may be viewed as an outcast or someone that's, crazy, or not following the normal conventions. So you have to fight against that. Do not follow the herd. And if you want to live a good life later, that you have to sacrifice now and go against the herd, so later on you won't be like the older herd where they're broke and have nothing to show for it. So that's it, guys, and see you next time.